North Carolina, Tennessee high country weather. Going to do this again. I've been doing this many times today and having some technical difficulties, but let's go ahead and get into this. 17th through the 25th. Anything after 25th, I really don't want to get down to it because there's a lot of moving parts and really it's hard to get down to the nitty gritty in that. So let's talk tonight pretty much to Christmas. Tonight, temperatures down low. Tomorrow, northwest flow snow could start, it'd be possible tomorrow for North Carolina, Tennessee border, especially up towards the Virginia. You're getting up that way. You're talking about the Madison County, North Carolina, Yancey, going on up. Now, it's going to be more of a dusting to a couple inches, especially you start going up towards snowshoe, getting up into Virginia, Kentucky and those areas like that. Now, that's pretty much it for that. High country areas are used to that little stuff. It's not really no big deal. But this midweek, going into Christmas, the pre-Christmas stuff, the 22nd, it's going to be rain for, like upstate South Carolina, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina. It's going to be pretty much a cold rain, especially western North Carolina. It's going to be a cold rain, like mid-30s, low 40s some places, mid-40s, upper 40s. It's going to be a pretty cold rain. Some places like maybe Mount Mitchell, you may see some, they may see some, wet snowflakes, something like that in the starting of the storm going into it. Now, 23rd, it's going to change. Eastern Tennessee, it's going to change the snow, the way it looks now in models. Western North Carolina, it's going to be right after that. Up in Virginia, most of Virginia, probably, the western half of Virginia, the Kentucky, those areas. Now, what about like South Carolina? What about Georgia? Well, I think it could wrap around at the very end. Some snow maybe for like the upstate, maybe like a Greenville or, North Georgia, maybe like a Cartersville North kind of deal. And it may even go a little further. It just depends. Things can change and things will change. Now, any snow on slopes? Yes, there's snow on the slopes. They've been blowing with snow. Probably since Thursday night. I would say Friday. Yesterday definitely, and tonight definitely. A lot of them are open. They've been open for a week or 2 weeks, something like that now. But I will say that these temperatures, coming behind us is going to be brutally cold. Models showing really cold air, and I think that is the main talk. I'm not worried about inches or anything like that right now. I'm worried about the cold air. What is going to happen? You got pets, livestock. I know cattle farms. You're not going to be able to put all your cattle in a barn or anything like that. But those are the type of things that are concerning is for livestock and stuff like that, with potential of really some real cold air. Amounts of snow, it's going to vary where you're at, of course. But is it going to be white for Christmas? I keep getting that. Is it going to be white for Christmas? A lot of places probably going to see some snow in a sense of, the western North Carolina. I'm talking about them. I'm talking about the East Tennessee mountains. You go up, and I'm talking about above 3,500 feet. And this is where I'm talking about, like, I'm pretty confident of this. Virginia mountains, anytime you get above 3,500 feet, 4,000 feet, it's going to be a pretty good chance, especially with wraparound, and it's going to have some flow on the backside, and it's, a lot of people know about, especially in western North Carolina along the borders, about the northwest flow. That is going to probably be cranking too. Amounts is really going to vary, and I think you're going to see this change back and forth. And I really don't want y'all to, not ride the emotions too much with what's going on. And this Christmas is making the hype even more right now, and you're seeing a lot of clickbait. You're seeing a lot of different things that are happening on the internet, and really, what I try to do is I try to say, okay, what's happened in the past? You got climatology. I got old models I look at. I screenshot them or save them. Those type of things I'm looking at and seeing it by what is. No, I'm not going to name any kind of storm, but because I really don't want to add to the hype. Is this going to be a blockbuster storm? I don't think so. I think the cold is really going to make it really headline. Some places may see snow. They haven't seen snow. I mean, possible, but you look back about 4 or 5 days ago, it had like South Carolina in 10 inches or something like that. Way too far out to ever believe that kind of stuff. You really have to watch out, but you can watch the patterns of how things are tracking and what things are doing. So those are things you have to do. Yeah, you get to add that insulation, those doll houses. I think it's really going to be. I think it's going to be temperatures we haven't seen in a while. Maybe people that may have moved to this area may have never seen these kind of temperatures. Especially like the Western North Carolina, East Tennessee. That type of air is really good. It's going to be pretty cold, and especially if models hold on to what they're saying, it's going to be that way. Yes, I think that East Tennessee and Western North Carolina definitely pretty difficult to actually predict with the weather. Especially you start talking about, there is little microclimates around, stuff like that. You really have to, it's really hard. It's like the other night, I had flurries here, a little bit of a, collecting, there's areas that are really hard to gauge and get into, but we could take the data that we know, and I think that, hopefully we could get some more webcams and weather stations along the Tennessee, North Carolina border here for us. But I'll get back on to the whole storm. Is that it's going to be cold. Places like, the Great Lakes, they're going to have their snow. There's going to be a lot of the area that hasn't seen a lot of snow for maybe a Christmas. So we really have to, we're really need to ride this pattern. This is awesome. This is a great pattern. Summer's going to be bummed out, but just don't let the models sway you either way yet. If it starts going like 2 days straight with something, let's latch on to that. And especially you start getting a day or two out from it, you're going to have to really focus in on things. And then you start getting the nowcasting thing, and that's the fun part because you can just nowcast. You can just watch bands of snow showers, how heavy this is, and that's the fun part. Trying to find out what is going to happen before is really difficult, and can be stressful to some, but it is all about the game of it, and that's what weather people love to do, is to figure out what's going to happen and try to gauge things. Got any more questions? And if anybody, I'm going to put this on YouTube as well. I'm on TikTok doing this, so it makes it a little bit easier to upload. But if you got any more questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them. But definitely, this is going to be a cold pattern. After Christmas, I'll touch on that briefly after I said I wasn't really going to talk about it, but things look interesting after Christmas. And then after that, will there be a warm-up? Is January going to be warmer? Those are things we have to get into, but really don't want to get into that because sometimes things just change on a dime, and it's possible, especially with the type of pattern that we got going on now. Things will flip-flop and stuff like that, and you gotta watch out, like I said earlier, about the clickbait and stuff like that, because people try to put that kind of stuff just to get views and stuff, and that is the wrong way for any kind of weather attention, because people won't need facts, and we need to give people facts. And that is the problem. I mean, you got the GFS, you got the Euro, you got all these different models, and one run, they'll just click it, put it on the internet, and say this is going to happen, and that's not going to happen, more than likely. Especially you start talking about 200 hours out. So we have to really be careful with that kind of stuff. But I do think that places like the extreme upstate South Carolina, 85 north, you got that dividing line where the foothills start, and then you get the 40 north. Those are the two benchmarks, like in the South Carolina and North Carolina areas, that you really pay attention to. Is that going to happen with this type of system? I think it is possible. I think it's really possible that we're going to have this type of thing, that we have to really understand that temperature is going to be really sharp, but I think that backside, I think it's going to swing through, and I think it can help, but that's still days away. So things are going to change, but I really want to get on here and try to clarify some things, and hopefully I didn't confuse you more, but hopefully this helps. But I appreciate everybody that's listening here on TikTok, and I'm going to put us on YouTube and Twitter. I'm on there. Subscribe. You can follow me. Always active. Always can come ask me questions. I'm always, they always say I'm hyperactive, so I'm there. So hope everybody has a great rest of their night and a great rest of their weekend. And I'll be back on here talking soon, and hopefully it'll be some more information about maybe some totals or something that we can start looking into.